Love is never easy, as the title of Gilded Age's latest episode suggests. And I couldn't agree more. The sad thing is, this episode was only the beginning of the tragedies that await our young lovers on the series, as the episode 4 suggests that in this era, no lover is safe from societal pressures and responsibilities. In other words, yes, Glattis might be the first victim of the Gilded Age's brutal approach to love and marriage, but she won't be the last one. So, let's talk about it. For me, this episode revolved around the tension in the Russell family, particularly what Bertha is willing to do to ensure Glattis becomes a duchess. I mean, we all know that Bertha has always been ruthless, but what we saw in this particular episode went beyond that. This wasn't just about social climbing, it was about bending everyone, even her own child, to her will. And I know we have been seeing her getting more and more dictatorial with each episode, but honestly, whenever I say she can't get any worse, she gets way worse. And I don't think I'm the only one who is extremely disappointed in her, but let me know what you think. Everything built toward the portrait unveiling for Glattis, which Bertha planned as a moment of triumph. For herself, of course. It was supposed to be the night she showed the world that her daughter had secured one of the most powerful matches possible. But by the end of it, that carefully curated image shattered, literally and emotionally. As Glattis's necklace fell apart, we witnessed her life falling apart as well, as she had no chance but to surrender to her mother and lose herself in doing it. The pressure had been building since the episode began. The Duke of Buckingham, who was supposed to marry Glattis, demanded a larger dowry. Bertha promised him money and influence, but it wasn't enough. George stood his ground, refusing to give more, and the Duke walked away. That in itself was humiliating for Bertha. She had practically sold her daughter for status, and the deal still fell apart. I mean, can you imagine being in Glattis's shoes at that moment? Not only you don't want to get married to this man, but also the man you are supposed to marry is basically in this only for the money. And that's it. This is a mere business transaction, nothing more. Which explains how the society of the era sees marriages in general, and how different it is from today's understanding of a marriage. When Bertha spots the Duke with another heiress at the opera later, the blow cuts even deeper. That new heiress is coming from a family that is anti-aristocracy, which just rubs salt in the wound. The fact that they don't even want a title makes Bertha's desperation feel even more hollow. And still, she refuses to give up. She looks into the new girl's background, hoping to find some weakness, some way back in. Like, how can she get this obsessive over a duke? Can you imagine what she could have done if he was a prince or even a king, for God's sake? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I genuinely believe that Bertha has lost her mind, and I'm absolutely mad about it. But while Bertha plays chess with these elite families, Glattis is falling apart quietly in the background, and George sees it. He reminds her that he once promised she could marry for love, but love is off the table now, because, as we all saw, Billy has moved on. So now, she's got no one. And standing there at that portrait event, surrounded by strangers, about to be reintroduced as the future Duchess of Buckingham, she just can't take it anymore. So, the pearl necklace moment was absolutely poetic and was signaling the beginning of the downfall for Glattis. She just yanks it, like she needs the world to stop and see her breaking. And it does. The creators of the show, Julian Fellows and Sonia Warfield, knew exactly what they were doing there. As they said in a recent interview, each pearl felt like a life that is about to unravel. It's a subtle but poignant piece of foreshadowing that will have a big impact. From this point on, starting with episode 4, we will see Glattis spiraling mentally. She will start abusing alcohol and drugs to forget the situation she is in. On the surface, she will comply with her mother's wishes and marry the Duke. But deep down, she will be rotten, first losing her mental health, only to be followed by her physical health. At the end of the season, we will see a Glattis that is no longer herself. And even Bertha will realize that she made a massive mistake that will cost her daughter's life. But we will talk more about that in next week's video. For this week, let's acknowledge the fact that Glattis isn't the only one unraveling. In fact, I think it wouldn't be an exaggeration to claim that everyone in this episode is unraveling. In the Van Ryn household, things are slowly getting out of Agnes's control too. As we all know, she used to be the one with all the influence, all the say. But now, even her own family doesn't listen to her. She's throwing herself into this anti-alcohol campaign, but no one cares. Not her staff, not her peers, and definitely not her nieces. She lashes out at little Frances, who is Dashiell's daughter, just for being loud. I mean, I usually love Agnes for who she is, but I have to admit, I draw the line when it comes to behaviors towards the children. So, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of hated her in this moment. Like, am I the only one who thinks she is getting unlikable each day? Let me know in the comments. Marion, on the other hand, is one of the few ones who is enjoying this life to the fullest. After her little kiss with Larry, she's walking a tightrope. Of course, Miss Andre saw it and ran straight to Bertha. But Marion beats her to the punch, telling Aunt Ada everything. And I loved Ada's response. She just said, "If you want to marry Larry Russell, I'd say he's lucky." Well, I wish everyone thought the same way as Aunt Ada. But we all know that this won't be the case. In fact, Marion knows better than all of us that she's stepping into dangerous territory. Bertha is already controlling her daughter's life, and we all know she'll do the same to Larry if she thinks Marion might slow him down. She's grooming Larry to be her political and social legacy. Any whiff of scandal, or even sincere emotion, will get shut down fast. In episode 4, we will see Larry deciding to take things faster than they initially planned. He will realize that his mother will never allow him to get married to Marion when Bertha comes up with a new potential suitor, just as she did to Glattis. Witnessing Glattis's fate at the first hand, Larry will not leave things to the chance and immediately propose to Marion in a surprise move. So they will blindside Bertha by showing up to her as an engaged couple. Can you imagine Bertha's reaction to all these? I simply can't even fathom her anger. For more weekly updates, analysis, and discussion on the Gilded Age Season 3, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.